I'd like to welcome you to drink from the fire hose that is the Two Noobs Talking podcast. For those of you who are returning listeners or viewers, welcome back. For those who are first timers, I can promise you we are funnier than a sitting incumbent president who may not make the ballot for the primary in New Hampshire.
There you go.
Pretty weird.
Yeah.
What? So we got episode 138 coming at you. As always, with me on this side. Yeah, this side is Jumpin' Tracy. On this side is the meticulous Matt Craig. For your safety, I am sterilized Steve Murray. Welcome to Two Noobs Talking. John, how are things going in your neck of the woods?
We're Texasing. I just got back from Eagle Pass, where the president likes to go during border crisis when you don't need to because it's probably the safest town in Texas.
He goes
beautiful
to the border
first time.
Since when?
He did once.
Oh, he did once.
He went right
okay.
to Eagle Pass. Yeah, right to Eagle Pass.
There you go. Okay.
Rio Grande's beautiful. It's a beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
Love it.
There you go.
Gotta have the photo up.
Yep.
Mr. Matt, you had quite an exciting time yesterday, so let's hear about that.
Oh, yeah. No, everything's good. I had a great time going to the Phillies. Put a stop to the Cubs beating us for the last, few series. I felt it incumbent upon myself and part of Two Noobs history to go there and to say, you know what, Cubbies, you're a good team, but we're going to put a stop to this winning streak you've had. And boy, did we ever put a stop to it. Kyle Schwarber with the grand slam, and the party was on at that point. But what made it really cool was the fact that I went to the game with a good buddy of mine from the church I go to. He's the organist, actually, and he is a lifelong Cubs fan. He grew up in and around the Chicago area, and so he loved the Cubs. And so to be there with him, when the Phillies are doing good was very awkward and very interesting, but a lot of fun, though. We were ribbing each other a little bit, and, he was decked out in his full Cubs gear. I was, of course, decked out in my full Phillies gear. It was quite the scene. It was really cool. Loved it. So he had a lot of fun. He egged on a lot of the Phillies fans when the Cubs were down 10-2. At one point, so it was, but he wasn't like over the top, he was just like, look at me, look at all that kind of stuff. It wasn't like that. It wasn't anything like, you suck or anything like that, which I heard a ton of from the Phillies fans, of course. But
I'm kind of expecting it was like years ago, I went to an Eagles-Browns game. And there was a Browns fan sitting a few seats down from me.
Yeah.
But the vitriol directed at that Browns fan was really kind of half-hearted.
Yeah.
It was almost like we felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
It was like,
yeah.
I kind of pictured that might have been like yesterday.
Pretty much.
Two franchises, not one. They only got good after you left. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but it was interesting, and there were a fair number of Cubs fans. It was interesting. It was like most of the obviously it was all Phillies, but you saw pockets of Cubs fans in there, here and there, sprinkled throughout. It was really cool. And
no, it's not cool. We must put a stop to it.
Yes.
Well, we did. We crushed them, which was great. So I mean, you can't go wrong with that. So there you go. Shout out to Ryan. There
Mission
you go,
accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of accomplishing a mission, which the Toronto Maple Leafs cannot seem to do, we got W Energy Drinks brings you our over 40 and fun fact. Visit w.gg, dubby.gg. Enter the promo code 2Noobs Talking. It's TOO as in also noobs, not dose noobs. And you'll get 10% off your order, whatever flavors you like. John, what is our you've got the fun fact.
Yes,
My bad. What is our fun fact for today?
So I learned a couple hours ago that cows have best friends. And they find that when they're not around their best friends, they are more stressed than they are when they're with their best friends. I find cows so damn interesting. I see them all the time in farm. I find their relationships and the way they walk, and there's like leads. It just blows my. I want to just be a cattle rancher, but I don't want to be a guy that does the work. I just want to follow cows around because they're awesome. I saw a little one. I was telling my wife I saw a little one So I guess the mom was walking a little ahead, and the little one was grazing and wasn't paying attention. And all of a sudden, he starts galloping to get to his mom. And I immediately thought of the TikTok thing that's like, "Hey, wait for me! I've got little legs." That's what I thought about as soon as I saw him run to try to catch up to his mom. And they make me smile. So
that's awesome.
I have questions. Sure. Must their friends be of the same species?
I don't know. I think they're talking cow to cow relationship. Like they have a best friend that happens to be a cow.
Who would have ever
so
thought
they're standing next to each other in the milking line.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that donkeys are pretty popular to roam around. So they could probably have a donkey as a best friend. Not like Shrek and Donkey, but like an actual donkey that's apparently a badass. I didn't know. Apparently.
There you go.
Donkeys are badass.
Well, I think we have a new show to pitch, Animal Planet, where John follows around a bunch of cows with a camera. I think that would actually...
I'll be more entertaining than Eric Young, so I just get me on whatever weird channel he was on, Access or whatever it was.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, and with that, we move over to Matt for the over 40. What you got for us this week, man?
Yeah, Steve. I got a bone to pick with people that are trying to drive or attempting to drive cars, not using your turn signals. What the hell? Right?
I mean, feel that.
I mean, come on. You know, it's like I was driving in around a parking lot and, you know, you're expecting for someone to come out, or, you know, it says you're coming out of the parking lot. They're coming down the street and they're slowing down and they're not using their turn signal. And I'm thinking, that would have been nice if you would have been telling me that you were turning right. How about you turn on the stupid turn signal to let me get out and get to where I need to go, rather than me just sitting there like a dumbass waiting for your dumbass to get in the parking lot. So that's point number one. And then point number two is people that leave the turn signal on way too long.
Too long, yeah.
As in they're driving all the way and it's like you get to an intersection and you're expecting them to make the left turn, but nope, they keep going straight. And then they figure out it's the next intersection. And it's like, oh my gosh. I would love for people to go back to driving school and learn how to use these things. I really, really do. Please, for the love of God. That's all I'm asking. Just go and relearn how to use it. Yeah.
I think there's probably a correlation between age and how long you leave the turn signal on. That probably goes like this.
I would assume.
The longer the turn signal gets on.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a colleague at work who tells me his former mother-in-law bragged about how there was an alarm in her car that would let her know when the turn signal was on too long.
Brilliant.
As it turned out, it would only go off if the turn signal had been on for 20 minutes.
Wow.
Wow.
You have confused a hell of a lot of people in 20 minutes.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if we could shorten that down to 2 minutes, that'd be great. Or maybe even 30 seconds or something along those lines.
30 seconds is enough.
I would think.
30 seconds.
It ought to be. Well, I mean, if you're stuck at a light, I can understand, you know, because you're waiting to go, the turn signal might be on. So maybe 2 minutes is more of a, you probably have been having this on for way too long.
Yeah.
Frame.
And I would want a loud, audible, like horn going off in the interior of the cabin to really annoy people.
Well, it has to get over most people's music at this point.
Right? Right.
That's true, too. Yeah, oh my gosh.
I'm going to add one more thing to your comment on the turn signals. I feel that the people who drive the cars with the turn signals that go like,
oh, yeah.
That's obnoxious.
It's
obnoxious.
Oh, yeah, very much so. Yeah, very pretentious.
Just get a normal turn signal. Blink, 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 blink.
What was even funnier,
this fancy crap.
Really, to close this out, what was really funny was one of my friends and I were driving together and we're trailing behind a construction, one of those big, gigantic signs, you know, with turn left, turn right. So, this one guy that was driving had it hooked up to his own car and he was turning, like switching, and you could see it like blink loud. He's going to the left. He's going to the right. You know, that kind of, It was just the most hilarious thing. We were laughing hysterically at this and thinking like that would be so funny if it was like that gigantic of an oversized, you know what I mean, like a oversized traffic or an oversized signal light on your cars. I'm going left, you know. Okay, we get it. You know, that kind of that would be hilarious to have. So
sadly, some people need it.
Exactly.
And speaking of sadly, topic one, gentlemen. The Philadelphia 76ers out in the second round yet again. And to all those people who think we're being hypocrites for picking on the Toronto Maple Leafs, we Sixer fans had no illusion that we were going to get past the Boston Celtics at this point. I think that most people had the feeling, and I certainly didn't, that they had shown enough this year that they could beat the Celtics in the playoffs. Whereas the Toronto Maple Leafs fans think they're going to win the Stanley Cup every single year. So,
yeah,
ta-da.
Yes.
But so, yeah, they, surprisingly to me, they took the Celtics to 7. Unfortunately, couldn't close the deal. More unfortunately, I think getting run out of the building in Game 7 was somewhat embarrassing for the franchise and the city. The fallout, of course, since then is that Doc Rivers lost his job after 3 seasons with the Sixers. All second-round exits, by the way, which succeeded Brett Brown's firing after he had gone a bunch of times, I believe, out in the second round. So we're stuck in purgatory here, gentlemen. And I'm gonna pull a shocker, and I'm gonna go to Matt first because he wasn't expecting it. Matt, I don't think you watched the game. Just in general, your impressions of the Sixers' playoff performance and the season in general.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the host for passing the baton over to me. I have to admit that really my fandom for the NBA disappeared when Jordan retired. Kobe kept me in it for a little bit, but with all practical purposes, my fandom for the NBA died in the late 90s when Jordan retired. And so I'm coming at this really from a perspective of, okay, I'm a fan of the Sixers, but I don't follow them that closely. But I keep up and say, okay, I know who's I have an idea on who's on the roster, but I don't sit down and watch every single game. That being said, though, it is incredibly frustrating to have to go 3 consecutive seasons and not get past the second round, despite the fact you've got Joel Embiid, despite the fact you have James Harden and Tyrese Maxey, who's playing really is coming along so well as a young player. And the sky's the limit for that kid. I do not know, guys, where that organization goes from here. You know, you're going to bring in a brand new coach. We don't know at the time of this recording if James Harden is going to exercise his player option and stay with us or re-sign a new deal, or the rumor is he might be moving to Houston, going back there, which I don't understand why, because they stink from what I understand.
He absolutely loves exactly what I love about Houston.
There you go.
You can live a nice life there, and you can it's a beautiful city. He's not going back for basketball, trust me. He's going back because he likes it.
John, I didn't know you frequented strip clubs.
I've frequented Houston for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
It is I totally understand why someone would want to just buy a house, stay. It's a beautiful city. It's a huge city. It's a wonderful. People are great there.
Yeah,
you can have all the fun that you want to have and more if you want to have more. It's definitely available to you. And James Harden likes a good nightclub, so.
Well, there you go.
We'll get to Harden in a little bit. I'll give you my overview of the series before I turn it over to the guy who actually watched Game 7. I was just too nervous to watch.
There you go.
Understood.
It was also Mother's Day and we were hosting, so I didn't really have a chance.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't think going into this series they really had a chance. They won Game 1. I was like, that's nice. They lost the next 2. I was like, well, here we go. We're going to go out in 5. They won Game 4. I was like, oh, okay, 2-2. We've made an effort. They blew them out in Game 5. I was like,
possible.
Maybe they got a chance now. Maybe they got a chance. When they lost Game 6, I was like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
And then Game 7, of course. John, where did you kind of lose the hope for winning this series? and just what was your impressions? Because what I get from Game 7 was people were complaining that Embiid and Harden didn't seem like they were fighting to the end, which would be disappointing given what we've seen out of Bryce Harper in October and Jalen Hurts in February, where guys just, fighting to the bitter last second.
Yeah.
That's a part of the problem. Is I think the expectation for this team was extremely higher than their ability. James Harden is amazing. He's also streaky as hell. Game 1 was awesome, and I was like, oh wow, this is okay. We stole a game. We might be in this series. Embiid comes back, the team changes. Always. This is just, we've seen it a million times. Embiid's out, team looks really good. Embiid comes back, team floats on around Embiid. It's fine. It's the way the Sixers are. I feel the city overvalued them. I really do. I did not think they were a championship team. I was actually shocked when they won, what was it, whatever game it was, and all of a sudden the betting odds for them to win the NBA title shot through the roof, and then they lost and then went right back down again. And I was like, that's bizarre.
That had to be Game 5.
It was all of a sudden Vegas was like, oh, they blow them out. They're gonna kill the Heat. They're gonna move on. And I didn't feel that way. I was hoping that we were gonna exercise some demons and get out of the second round. But as I just learned, I didn't know this. Doc Rivers hasn't got past the semifinals in like a decade. So I would have been less sure that they had a chance if I would have known that stat. I didn't learn that stat until after he got fired. I was like, so my confidence in Doc Rivers was like 50% anyway. That would have dropped it back to 30.
I think he has lost more Game 7s in history as a coach than any other coach, I believe.
Gosh.
Is the stat I heard.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. My point with the Sixers is I enjoy watching Joel Embiid play. I love watching James Harden play. I've said it on Facebook a million times. When they first got Harden, I used to spend a lot of time in Houston, and I would watch a lot of Houston Rockets games when we were there. And it was just fun to watch him play. And then he was a Sixer. Made it even more fun. I had Embiid and Harden. Oh, I'm having a good time. And then this Maxey kid comes along, and I'm like, well, this is just fun. I like watching people that know how to do stuff. And it was fun for me. I don't think I had an expectation. They didn't have the team for it. They had a really good 3-point percentage for the year, but it disappeared in the playoffs.
So who do you put that?
The way basketball is. You gotta blame Doc.
I was just going to say, like, who do you blame at that point? Is it the GM? Is it Morey? Does he have a hand in this too? Johnny,
it's probably
it always is.
They're still playing the process game. The process is far over. Like,
wasn't that a decade ago or something?
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're still playing the process game. Oh, we've got some pieces. They're milking it for everything they have. So it's probably just everybody, and fans included. It isn't the process anymore. This is a team that can finish third in the conference. You need to now think you need a coach. You might need a general manager. You might need a star player that can take this team that can finish third now. And we're talking the LeBron. Yeah, the LeBron era is over, so you can have a dominant team now. The Warriors aren't the Warriors like they were a couple years ago. So you can start to think of building a young nucleus and moving forward and maybe competing. And I thought about this. We talked about it in pre-production. I was dead set on someone needed to get fired. That's why Doc got fired. I don't think I believe that, thinking more about it. I think it's time that they just need to retool and really look at the roster and say, I've got this guy. I've got this guy. What do I need to put around him to make him better? And Embiid needs to improve himself.
Oh, yeah.
I need to see some Maxey improvement out of Embiid. Ball handling, shot selection, be a big man every once in a while. Don't hang out at the 3-point line so much.
Yeah, beat the absolute crap out of Al Horford. I mean, come on.
He does it
Honestly.
he does it to all the other guys in the league. He embarrasses these guys, but apparently when he comes up against Al Horford takes his lunch and kicks him out at recess every time.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
No.
It's a man thing. It's a man thing.
The reality is, though, Doc did get fired.
Mm-hmm.
So now undergoes the process of replacing him. I heard late last week that Nick Nurse has interviewed or will be interviewing shortly. He had formerly coached the Toronto Raptors, won a title with them in 2019, the Kawhi Leonard year that Toronto had. Other candidates possibly in-house, you've got Sam Cassell. They have Mike Budenholzer, who recently was fired from the Milwaukee Bucks after winning a championship with them 2 years ago. Now, 80 billion-year-old Mike D'Antoni, who coached James Harden in Houston.
Yes.
And the fired former coach of the year, Monty Williams from the Phoenix Suns, are among the candidates listed.
You mean you're not going to go for JJ Redick there, Steve, at 3-1 odds to get?
No.
That had to be a joke.
That had to be too.
Had to be a joke.
I'm hoping so. Don't forget, Frank Vogel was one name that I saw.
The one that
formerly of the Lakers. What a bubble title.
Yes.
With 90-year-old LeBron.
Yeah.
Yes, pretty much. I hope hell no. That's all I have to say. I saw him on a couple lists and I was like, I don't like these lists.
Yeah.
Matt, I know you're rather naive on this, but is there any name there that kind of excites you or gets you more pumped about than others on the list?
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I think the Milwaukee coach Budenholzer, I think you guys said before, I know that he worked really well with Giannis, and I'm thinking, okay, if Budenholzer can come in and help Embiid essentially be Giannis 2.0 for us, good start. Because it literally was, everything revolved around Giannis on the offensive side, I believe, for the Bucks when they won the championship. And they were really kind of, they were like, I think they are one of the best teams in the NBA.
They were the number one seed in the East this year.
Yeah.
There you go.
They play really good basketball.
Yeah. And I think that's probably, like, if he's out there, I don't know how the Sixers don't at least take a look at him and talk to him about this position. I think there are pieces. To John's point, I think there are pieces in place. The question is, what coach is going to work? And, I mean, you gotta... If you're Joel Embiid, and we have waxed eloquent about him, he is a fantastic player. But for him to come up small in Game 7, specifically, guys, that kind of reminded me of one Ben Simmons, and we got him out of town. Now, and I'm not saying we're going to do that with Ben, with Joel.
They're completely two different people on this earth.
Thank God. Yeah. But my point, I mean, we got to toughen this guy up. I know, like Charles Barkley always says, why does he shoot the three? He should be a post player down low. And I'm thinking to myself, I would agree. Why does he take the 3-point shot? Like, and I understand it, like, he's a good shooter, but to me, it's like you're 7 foot tall, you got 280 pounds, pound them down there in the low block. Really, if you're on the, and I'm thinking that's what Giannis did with the Bucks when they won the championship, and Budenholzer was the coach. So maybe that might be my selection. I mean, I want to see Joel get better. Continually to get better at where he's at, but him taking 3-point shots with Doc, no, I don't think that works anymore.
I can understand the sentiment. I think he was fired kind of wrongly. I mean, I know they went out in the first round, but I mean, Giannis was injured like 5 minutes into game one.
Yeah.
I think at least one other game in the series and clearly was not. I mean, I saw the play where he got injured. Dude fell like 10 feet onto his back. I mean, he was not right for the rest of the series. I can't understand why he would get blamed for that.
And they ran into...
What are you looking for in the next coach, and who of that list kind of excites you?
Real quick on him, he gets fired because they ran into a buzzsaw. I don't think he deserved to be fired at all.
Yeah.
And it's rumors that the Bucks are looking at the one Doc Rivers to take them to the promised land, which cracks me up. And like,
that's funny.
No thanks. When in pre-production, you were joking around and you threw Nick Nurse at me, and I poo-pooed it immediately. I'm coming around. There's a lot of good media people in Philadelphia that can write really good articles that can change people's minds quickly. Because I started to read up on them a little, and I'm like, it's not a bad decision. I was Thursday. I was completely no way, no how. I don't want that guy at all. I like Budenhausen. I want to see Sam Cassell for different reasons. I want to see Sam Cassell get his first shot. He's been an assistant coach since 2009, like consistently.
Yeah,
he deserves his first shot. He's also in the backgrounds of the Writes the Ricky Sanchez podcast, who I love. Howard Eskin's kid, Spike. You're amazing and keep doing your stuff. He always talks about how Cassell was he's a huge piece to Maxi's development. And the one thing I care about more than Embiid's development is getting a point guard shooting guard to develop 30, 40 points a game instead of the 20 to 30 he's getting now.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see other guys develop. And I know DeAnthony Melton will develop under Cassell, not his defense, because his defense is dead good. His offense could develop, and a guy like B-Ball Paul might develop even more, instead of like B-Ball Paul right now is the baby giraffe that Joel Embiid was in the beginning, where he's slapping all over the place. And, oh, look, I got a ball. I put it in here. If you can develop that young nucleus of just guys that need basketball, and Embiid's one of them. They need a bigger basketball IQ. I think Sam Cassell's the best person for that.
Is he enough of a change in culture, which is usually what you're looking for in a coaching change at the end of the season?
I really don't want to.
I guess is the question.
I don't really want to change the offense and the culture. I want to develop the players. And Doc Rivers isn't a player developer. He's a coach. He takes good players and they win. I think if we kind of keep it the way it is and add a voice like Sam Cassell that is more of a teacher, that might help. Also, if you go outside, Nick Nurse might not be a bad idea, because he's been in Toronto getting diamonds out of complete shit up there until they that team that won the championship, they weren't much better than the Sixers, and they looked far better than the Sixers that year.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, speaking of good players, we come now to Harden, who you both mentioned. He has indicated he will opt out. The question is whether he will re-sign a deal here or look to sign elsewhere. The rumors flying around late last week were that he's dead set on going back to Houston. From the Sixers side of things, do you want him back?
Yes.
And if you don't want him back, what is plan B? Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the plan B, what you just asked that question, Steve, that is really scary, because, I mean, everything revolved around Harden distributing the basketball. And I'm thinking, like, if they put Maxey at point, that might help to alleviate it, but it's not a James Harden. Yeah, so it's going to be tough. It really is going to be an interesting situation. I mean, I would like to keep him. I don't know for how long, though. I think he wants... John, what did you say?
4 years.
4 years. 4 years. Yep. He's looking for a decent... He's looking for a Tobias Harris contract at 4 years, basically.
Okay.
Which he will get. There's not a team that won't give it to him.
Yeah. But, I mean, how old is he? Is he like in his mid to late 30s now?
32, I believe.
Oh, wow. I thought he was...
No. He's
34?
He's been in the league like 15 years.
Yeah, 32. He's mid-30s.
Okay.
He's not late 30s at all. He's mid-30s.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, if he was
Sounds
late
about
30s
34.
or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Well, then, yeah, I mean, the age, I think if he was probably pushing 37, 38, then it's like, okay, you kind of just let him walk. But at the same time,
Yeah, he's not old enough to just kick him out to pasture.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So there's still some good years left. I mean, the question is, does he want to stay? Do we
He's
want to give
33.
him that? He's 33.
He's 33.
There you go.
Probably had a birthday and I missed it.
Oh, well,
Sorry,
there you
James.
go. Happy birthday, James Harden. We want you
I
back.
bought you a drink if I would have been around you.
There you go. No, I would keep him, Steve. To be honest, to go back to your original question, I would keep him. Just knowing that information about him.
Assuming he wants to stay.
Assuming he wants to stay here, yeah. And you know, to be honest, I think, you know, whoever they put in, if it's Sam Cassell, to John's point, or if it's Budenholzer, you know, my selection, I think having a Harden available on the roster will definitely help to can distribute the basketball. He's one of the best passers in the NBA, from what I understand. And so, you know, I think you do try and run it back again. But I mean, if they get to be the third seed again, and we're back to the square one, you know, we beat the Brooklyn in the first round, then all of a sudden, who do we face, right? I mean, we're going to be facing one of the top two seeds in the conference. So it's going to be, how can we get past this mental hurdle of the second round? That's really the big question.
John, if Harden stays, what else can you do to this team around your big three, if we include Maxey, to push them further in the playoffs?
It's clear. Tobias Harris has to go. You have to sign and trade him. You have to get him. I love the dude. He's awesome. When Embiid's Embiid's hurt and Harden's hurt, he's your guy. He's awesome. He's a good basketball player. But what you might need is a 3 that is a lockdown defender that can take the pressure off of Harden, can take the pressure off of Embiid, with a Tatum like a DeAnthony Melton, but better. And longer, that can come into the game and be like, all right, Tatum, you're done. Like, I don't care. Like, you're not a part of this. We're going to focus on putting Harden on Jaylen Brown, and then we're going to have Embiid be able to work both of them to block more shots and that kind of thing. I think Tobias Harris isn't that defensive guy that you need at that position. He
has improved defensively.
Big,
give him that.
Big time.
Way better than he was when he first got here.
Big time, but not. I just don't think it's a piece that fits if you're going to go forward with Harden, Maxey, and Embiid on the floor. You don't need a guy that can shoot. You need a guy that you need a PJ Tucker, but smaller kind of thing. You need that. You need that guy that might be able to shoot the 3, but can get back on defense and take that pressure off. That's where I think that's where the Sixers and Doc. I don't think Doc is smart at all defensively. He just seemed to used to yell when they were and nothing would ever change defensively, because it would just be Harden and Embiid on a switch, and then they would get the best player, and then sometimes Embiid would follow the guy to the cup, and then sometimes he wouldn't, and then sometimes Harden would follow.
That reminds me, to get back on the coaching for a second. There were times where I'd be watching a Sixer game and they'd come out of a timeout with an inbound
and look worse
opportunity, and they would look like they have absolutely no idea what they're doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've got to put that on coaching. I can't imagine that when you're working a set play off a timeout, I can't imagine that the blame falls anywhere but on the coach.
And how do you not do like pick and roll, for crying out loud? Just set a pick and come off of that out on the floor and get past the ball.
Well, that's normally what they do because that's their offense. But
I think was it the final game against Boston in the regular season where we were up like 5 and they had an inbound and Joel Embiid had to push off to get space and got fouled, or it was that was the most disgusting display of an inbound I've ever seen.
Wild. Wow.
But to go from the obvious now to the ridiculous, Joel Embiid, there are some people who are now looking to run him out of town, sell high on an MVP. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Absolutely not. Franchise player. I get the frustration, especially in Game 7. He comes up small. You were hoping that the MVP would be, there for you, and he wasn't.
Mhm.
And that, I think, is just typical Philly frustration. Oh, we just got to just blow it up all over again. No. It's like, if you blow it up all over again, guess what? You're down in the pits again, and they don't want to be there. They're a playoff team. The question is, again, mental hurdle. You got to get over the top of this. And one of those is the guy that we have put a lot of faith and trust in Joel. And we love JoJo, and he's a great player. He's beloved in this city. For the most part, if you're talking to some Sixers fans, that kind of a deal. But no, you keep him in, and you just ride him until he can't play anymore. Really. I mean, he is that valuable of a franchise altering player.
So Matt says, "Screw you, Joe Giglio," whatever your name is. I would love to see him get healthy in a playoff round. No, I'm not. It's not his fault that he gets smashed in the face one year, or he steps on a guy's foot another year. It's just unfortunate. You just hope he can get some luck along the way. But John, your thoughts on what to do with Embiid, if anything?
My thoughts on Joe haven't changed since he's gotten to this league. And they've tried this before. Not well, but they've tried this. What you need to do in the regular season is get a big man, like name the 37 big men that we've signed, starting with Al Horford moving forward. We've had Drummond. We've had the dude that's in Japan. We've had Dwight Howard. We've had every run-of-the-mill, last-ditch effort center to be what they need for him is someone that can spell minutes for him to not have to play so much in the regular season so he gets healthy in the playoffs. Basketball is not a game where he's going to play 48 minutes for 82 games and then he's going to look like LeBron in the playoffs. LeBron takes time off because they have people that can shoot a three when they're up 30, jack it up. All right, now we're up 40. I can sit down. LeBron at a young age sat a lot, and that's what they need to put their roster around, putting kind of Embiid on the pine at the end of each quarter, not the fourth quarter, but at the end of each quarter. That you can get serviceable minutes. You don't have that right now because you have another baby giraffe like B-Ball Paul that could go wrong at any moment. It's awesome at times, but it can go wrong at any moment. Any moment that thing will just blow up in your face. So I understand Doc Rivers only giving him 3 minutes here, 4 minutes here. Trust me, like you wouldn't want, you don't want to see what 11 minutes is going to give you with that dude. It's not going to be good.
Right. All right, well, that ends topic one. Oh! All right, I'm back from my Matthew Kachuk celebration of ending topic one.
How's your shoulder?
It's good. It's good.
Good. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So moving on to topic two, one of John's favorite subjects. Well, sort of, kind of.
Well, I like the Supreme Court. I'm a fan of the Supreme Court.
I was talking more about 2:30, but which reminds me, when do you go to the dentist? 2:30.
There you go.
But all right, I'm out now. Washington Post article. Supreme Court hands tech companies a win, and not just about Section 230. This is actually something we talked about a few months ago. In a pair of lawsuits targeting Twitter, Google, and Facebook, the Supreme Court had its first chance to take on the 1996 law that helped give rise to social media. But instead of weighing in on Section 230, which shields online services from liability for what their users post, the court decided the platforms didn't need special protections to avoid liability for hosting terrorist content. The two cases were both involved families of victims of ISIS terrorist attacks who sued the tech giants for their role in distributing and profiting from ISIS content. The plaintiffs argued that the algorithms that recommend content on Twitter, Facebook, and Google's YouTube aided and abetted the group by actively promoting its content to users. Many observers anticipated the case would allow the court to pass judgment on Section 230, the portion of the Communications Decency Act passed in 96 to protect online service providers like CompuServe, Prodigy, and AOL, RIP.
The late 90s. The late 90s called. They want their technology back.
The goal was to shield the fledgling consumer internet from being sued to death before it could spread its wings. Underlying the law was a concern that holding online forums responsible for policing what people could say would have a chilling effect on the internet's potential to become a bastion of free speech. But in the end, the court didn't even address Section 230. It decided it didn't need to once it concluded the social media companies hadn't violated U.S. law by automatically recommending or monetizing terrorist groups' tweets or videos. John, I know you are an opponent of 230, at least sometimes.
Only sometimes.
Are you disappointed by this ruling?
No, not at all. When you read the ruling, it made complete sense. They did not break any law by what happened. 230's weird. It gives them so much power. I just want them to split the power in half. I want them to not allow. Basically, ISIS shouldn't have a Twitter, but that's under 230. But you know what I mean? Like, I want to split it, but I'm not gonna. If me and you were having an argument on the internet and I call you a douchebag and you call me an asshole, we shouldn't be able to sue Facebook because I called you a douchebag and you called me an asshole. I understand the what it protects, or some, half the Clapper audience when they do what they do on Clapper. That I understand why Clapper should not be sued, because people are weird. You get what I mean?
I get what you mean, but I don't think ISIS has a blue check mark, Twitter account.
Well, I think they might have. At one time, I think they actually did. Thank God for Elon Musk when he took it all away and then gave it back for some reason.
Because they couldn't afford the $8 a month. I think the problem is more you have individual ISIS people who are no names, but they're out there promoting the content, and how as you as a platform with millions, dare I say, does Facebook have 1 billion at this point?
Probably.
Probably in the hundreds of millions.
Billion users. How are you going to police every single one of those users and every single one of those posts?
Yeah,
I think is the issue.
Yeah.
Going to the opinion, Justice Thomas. This was a
was a unanimous.
It was
decision,
unanimous.
Right? Yeah.
Well, I think there was a concurring opinion, but it was unanimous in the result. Justice Thomas wrote the majority opinion. He said, to be sure, it might be that bad actors like ISIS are able to use platforms like defendants for illegal and sometimes terrible ends. But the same could be said of cell phones, email, or the internet generally.
Yes.
Yet we generally do not think that internet or cell service providers incur culpability merely for providing their services to the public writ large. Thomas, in particular, has expressed interest in revisiting Section 230, which he sees as giving tech companies too much leeway to suppress or take down speech they deem to violate their rules. But his apparent dislike of online content moderation is also consistent with his opinion, which will reassure social media companies that they won't necessarily face legal consequences for being too permissive on harmful speech, at least when it comes to terrorist propaganda. The director of platform regulation at the Stanford Cyber Policy Center advised against drawing sweeping conclusions from the opinion. She said that these two cases were extremely weak cases for the plaintiffs. They do not demonstrate that platform immunities are limitless. They demonstrate that these cases fell within some pretty obvious common sense limits. But the wording of the opinion is cause for concern to those who would like to see platforms held liable in other sorts of cases, such as the Pennsylvania mother suing TikTok after her 10-year-old died attempting a viral blackout challenge. The comparison of social media platforms to cell phones and email suggests an inclination to view them as passive hosts of information, even when they recommend it to users. Matt, do you agree with the comparison that Justice Thomas made of social media to cell use internet generally?
I do. I think it's a brilliant take by Justice Thomas. To be perfectly honest, Steve, I think it shows his wisdom and his character in that regard. I think the biggest problem that social media has is there are a bunch of moronic idiots out there that use this platform, and they do not know how to protect themselves from it, or and users that use that content, they don't know how to protect themselves from it. I understand the idea of, okay, yeah, it's free speech and we want to get this out, and I don't have a platform to do it and all that kind of stuff, and this allows you to do it, but there comes a certain point in responsibility. I don't mean high and mighty here, but really I think the biggest problem with social media is when used irresponsibly, these are the problems that we are coming up with ultimately.
Is social media ever used responsibly?
I don't know. I mean, we talked about this in pre-production, Steve. I mean, you guys both have kids. Both, you're with yours, Steve. You're both in the getting into the
early teenage years. Yeah.
There you go. And Johnny, you've got like a 9-year-old stepson, and it's like you guys know social media on your phones. Period. And I love that about both of you guys. You guys are exercising the absolute correct wisdom here to keep these kids off of social media. There is no reason why a 15, 12, 7, 9-year-old needs to have a Facebook account. None whatsoever. What's the purpose of that? That's so ridiculous. And even worse is Instagram. And you want to talk about a worthless app. Instagram is one of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Honestly, it really warps a lot of people's minds and thoughts about what things are and what things aren't. It blurs that line between the two. And if you've got a kid that sees something like this, and it's like they're looking at it, oh my gosh, they don't know the difference between between the difference of what's real and fake is really the big question here. So, I mean, I applaud Justice Thomas's decision. I think it was a great opinion on the piece, and was a majority opinion. I also applaud the Supreme Court for actually doing something right, for crying out loud, and actually becoming, to a unanimous conclusion on this. Where the social media goes from here, I don't know. To be honest with you, I think I would love to see high schools come up with some sort of like program to say, it's how you handle social media, but I'm not so sure given the state of public education these days. You know what I mean? It really comes down to the parents.
Got to rely on the government.
It really comes down to the parents. Yeah. It really comes down to them.
It's the parents.
It really does.
Have to take the responsibility here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
John, do you see a difference? I know Matt agrees with Justice Thomas. Do you see a difference between kind of the active promotion that things like YouTube and Twitter will do to bump up posts based on the algorithm versus just having the internet generally host your material? Or do you kind of agree?
Absolutely, YouTube. We see it in we hit algorithms for just talking, and when we have certain tag and phrases and certain things that we do pop off more so than others. So there is something out there that there is an algorithm. There absolutely is an algorithm to push the content out there. It just depends on what they're doing. What is their algorithm? And nobody can answer that. Elon Musk has owned Twitter for how long? And he still can't explain the algorithm.
Yeah.
Like still has he's hiring someone else to figure it out.
But my question is if YouTube or Twitter is actively pushing this content as a result of the algorithm, should it be their fault? And Justice Thomas and the Supreme Court, because they all voted yes, seem to agree, at least in this instance. No, you're just off. It's just out there.
But if we have full proof, because we need full proof. We can't just shout at YouTube, you're doing something wrong, and and we don't know they're doing something wrong. If we find out they are actually promoting it, then that's a problem. Like, you can't actively promote terrorist acts in the United States from foreign countries and promote them to the youth. That I'm sure that has the Constitution probably covers that somewhere. Like you can't actively do that. That's not a good idea. But same thing, we don't know much about tech giants, so they're doing stuff that we don't know about. The first time we've ever looked inside of the tech giants is Elon Musk buying Twitter and posting his files that now he owns because he bought them on Twitter. That was the first time we ever got a look into any kind of social media because it's all saved in that 230. They do not have to do anything.
Yeah,
it's really hard to sue them, and that I understand early on why you would do that because that thing would have blown up in what 3 weeks. But easily 3 weeks.
Even in the article, Johnny, I was just going to say, even in the article, to your point, really, you think about that. That Section 230 happened in 1996 when the internet was born and created by Al Gore. That kind of a deal. Not true, by the way. So it's things like that. It's like this was a burgeoning technology back then, which is almost 30 years ago. Good Lord Almighty.
Yes.
But that was a burgeoning technology. Seriously, that was something that was growing, but it's in its infancy stages. Now it's a colossal mess and a disaster because of the nefarious things that go on behind the scenes. And it's like, well, hey, this was written. These tech giants are like, this was written, 1996, and this covers us, blah, blah, blah. And they go to it as a failsafe, that kind of a deal. So I would love to see big tech get regulated. I really would. I would love to see what these algorithms do. And I think it's so important, not so much in the fact that you want to limit the free speech, but you want to be able to at least see how they are regulating the speech. And especially in the United States, where we pride ourselves on free speech because of the First Amendment to the Constitution. Thank you very much. How are they the arbiters, essentially? Like, that to me doesn't make any sense. Like, that there shouldn't be somebody that's higher up than the federal government to regulate somebody's speech, whether or not you agree with something or not. You know what I mean? Like, you may disagree with someone's opinion, and that's fine. That's okay to disagree with somebody's opinion, but to limit that and to affect an algorithm because of that, I'm not so sure about that. And it should be on the tech giants to do it. I don't know. What do you guys think on that?
I think it should be on me, and Matt, your opinion is wrong.
There you go.
The algorithm is kicking you out.
I'm out of here.
Although I wanted to do it, I did not do a second Matthew Kachuk celebration because I didn't want to drop my headphones repeatedly on the table. But we're going on to topic 3 now here. Daily Mail article.
There you go.
My fellow Americans, stargazing could soon become a thing of the past. Visibility of stars in the night sky is declining by 10% per year. Thanks to light pollution, study warns. It almost sounded like a Toronto Maple Leafs article that their stars decline by 10% per game in the playoffs. Jonathan,
you will not let that go. I love it.
By the way, if you're just joining us and the first time you're hearing us, he's not going to let that go for at least 12 episodes. I just would like to.
I love it. I want him to keep it up, Johnny. I'm just saying.
If you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan and you hate what Steve is saying, hit us up about 165. It'll be out of his system.
Not as long as the Panthers remain in the playoffs, man. Go Panthers.
There you go.
But anyway, back to the article. So the human eye should be able to see several thousand stars on a clear, dark night. But the spectacular sight is vanishing due to increasing levels of light pollution, according to a new study. Observations of the night sky over the past 12 years reveal the change in visibility is equivalent to a 9.6% increase in sky brightness per year. To put this in perspective, the authors say a child born in an area where 250 stars were visible would likely see fewer than 100 stars in the same location 18 years later. According to the findings, the night sky is increased in brightness from artificial light by roughly 7 to 10% per year. This is the equivalent to a doubling of the night sky's brightness in less than 8 years. Matt, concerned? Indifferent?
Do I not care? What is it? I love the UK Daily Mail article though. In the headline is that visibility of stars in the night sky is declining.
Well, yes, I should have read that in capital letters. Yeah,
by 10% per year. Slightly concerned, but at the same time, go to the country if you want to see the stars. Honest to God, like you go out. Like we live in the great state of Pennsylvania, Mr. Steve Murray, as you know.
Commonwealth.
Thank you
very much.
Sorry, not the state of Pennsylvania. Sorry, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Let's be technically accurate here.
Yes, exactly. But if you head west, about an hour away, right in the middle of Lebanon, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, whatever you want to call it, you'll see stars, and they are gorgeous, and they are fantastic, and they are a sight to behold, and it's absolutely beautiful to go out there and just you see it, you feel the sense and the weight of space out there when you look up and you take a look and you say, holy cow, there are so many stars out here, it's ridiculous. City's totally different story, and I get that. You're in the bright lights in a big city, especially in that shithole that is New York or Toronto or any of the other loser Boston, things like that, where you have nothing else better to do now since your hockey team's now all to the playoffs. Ha 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 ha. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, okay, you don't see the stars. What was like maybe prevalent there 100 years ago. So go to the country, go out and get in your car, get out of the city. And start looking up and enjoy it and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not overly that concerned like the UK Daily Mail article would be. But I do think it's important to kind of just go out there and just and take a walk in the night and take a look at upstairs, and see the stars out there. So yeah.
So your solution is move your ass.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
100%. Yeah. Get out of the cities.
Connie Walker from NSF, which I assume is it is the National Science Foundation. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Said that the increase in sky glow over the past decade underscores the importance of redoubling our efforts and developing new strategies to protect dark skies, because dark skies are okay. Commenting on the study, David Rothery, a professor of planetary geosciences at the Open University.
That sounds expensive.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
$11 per semester.
Maybe not that expensive. Sorry.
It's the Open Source University.
There you go.
He says that local councils should take action to help reduce light pollution in the UK.
Here we go.
Light pollution is a serious issue, not just for those of us who would like to be able to see the stars, but for wildlife too, he said. It is also a waste of electricity and money, and therefore makes climate change targets harder to achieve. Local councils should take action here. They should revoke permissions for illuminated name and logo signs on industrial units that are currently turned on throughout the night. John, I actually regret reading that last sentence in annoying voice, because I kind of agree that it's stupid to have signs on all night if you're not open.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with that. But
yeah.
But should governments be stepping in here for any reason?
Government should not step in when it's a base on common sense. You get. He's right. You could do it. You could do it little town by little town, city by city. Like, just if you're open 24 hours, guess what? After 10 p.m., you need to shut your neon lights down a little bit. Like, it doesn't need to be so like, slow it down. It's all common sense. New York is the absolute. I don't even know the word to use of BS common sense light pollution, because at 4 a.m, it's just as bright as when the sun's out. Like,
yeah,
yes.
Just
like if you have an apartment in Times Square, to be perfectly honest, guys, how do you go to sleep at night? Really, honest to God.
Here's my curtains.
Here's my thing. I've driven across the country, and I've driven when it's sunny and when it's dark. How the hell does my phone know to change to dark mode when the sun goes down, but you can't do that for your city? It makes no sense. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about Vegas is another thing. Like, we could calm that down. Most people are drunk by 12. You do not need the Luxor going circles, and you don't need the roller thing and that thing and this thing going this way and that thing. They're drunk already. They're inside gambling. They don't care. Like, what is 6 people coming into Vegas at midnight? Like, we're already there. We already there. We're already having a good time. We're already trying to get back to our room to go to sleep. We've had our fun. But that's what they're talking about. They're talking about towns like Las Vegas, cities like Los Angeles, New York, like the cities that never sleep. If they would just turn their fucking lights off, maybe we would sleep. Houston's the same way too.
I can agree with that. I was recently in the Houston area.
It is bright.
I left my curtains open. I usually leave it just a crack, just so if I have to get up in the middle of the night, since I'm unfamiliar with the layout of the hotel room, I know how to get to the bathroom.
Yep.
But at 2:00 in the morning, I woke up and I had to close the curtain because there was so much damn light coming in. Just 6 inches of curtain separation.
Amazing.
It is ridiculous. And you know, if we're talking about wasting electricity, I do think having that kind of stuff on, street lights, keep them on, because there are people who are going to be out, who need to be out. It's their job to be out.
No question about it.
They need to be able to see.
Yep.
But the neon lights, fresh donuts, that can wait till 6:00 in the morning.
Lowe's, if Lowe's is closed, you do not need a light on the Lowe's sign.
I would say also, too, same with the office buildings. It always troubles me. Like at 10:30 at night, there are office lights on. Why?
Cleaning.
Because it's like...
Cleaning, but you don't need to turn the whole office on. Like, can't you work in sections?
Our office building, the lights in each office are on sensors.
The auto timer.
So they will, if there's no motion in there, they will go off after a certain amount of time. There are certain people who don't move enough during the day that their lights automatically shut off, and they have to do one of these to turn them back on. But I mean, at least there, that's kind of taken care of. So if the cleaning people have to come through, it'll go on for a certain amount of time. But I mean, like the lights. Yeah, you're right. There are other lights who don't do that, and it's kind of silly. I mean, you do need the blinkers at the top so an airplane doesn't fly into you.
Of course, yeah.
But you don't need to be lit up like the 4th of July.
No.
On a Wednesday night at 1 in the morning.
And I also get it too. Like, I mean, that there is a glow, no question about it, in the overall ambiance of the sky when you're talking about a city light. And even into the suburbs, you still have it, and you don't see as many stars. But if you do want to see more stars, you go to the country where there's less light. It's really that simple. Just get your butt out of the city and go out to the country. It's that simple. It really is. It's amazing when you do it, too. I can't, overemphasize it enough. It is absolutely beautiful when you go out to the country and you take a walk in the evening and you're just like, holy cow, the number of stars that are out there. Can't compare. So
just be careful, because one night I did that in Southern California, and there was a rustling and we ran like hell.
Since when are you fat, John?
I'm getting there, man.
You realize you only see him from the waist, but not even the waist.
Yes.
It's like the chest up.
The
You
chest
see
up.
videos, right?
Yeah.
You should see the belly. It's massive.
I don't want to, Johnny. I'm just telling you right now.
And I refuse to work out. It's not a I don't have time to work out.
Well, you just hit the edit button. You'll be all right. Don't worry about it. You'll be
dead
good.
set on not working out.
We could, there's Photoshop. We could always
I know.
slim you. Slim you out.
This is what I've learned.
Living.
And people then ask why that championship newspaper behind you has curved edges. Why are we talking about fat? Well, our fourth topic, AP News article. Taco Tuesday. Trademark tiff flares anew between fast food competitors.
Oh, boy.
And John loves him a good taco, apparently.
Going to sit down for
Not
this
from
one.
Taco Bell, but from somewhere that could make a good taco.
Yeah.
Declaring a mission to liberate Taco Tuesday for all. Taco Bell is heading into enemy territory. Guns a-blazing. Freedom fighters and all. They're asking U.S. regulators to force Wyoming-based Taco John's to abandon its long-standing claim to the trademark.
Oh,
Too many businesses and others refer to Taco Tuesday for Taco John's to be able to have exclusive rights to the phrase, Taco Bell asserts in a U.S. Patent and Trademark Office filing. Taco Bell believes Taco Tuesday is critical to everyone's Tuesday. To deprive anyone of saying Taco Tuesday, be it Taco Bell or anyone who provides tacos to the world, is like depriving the world of sunshine itself.
Oh,
the Taco Bell filing reads.
I'm just putting my hand up. Pick me.
A key question is whether Taco Tuesday over the years has succumbed to genericide.
Dun, dun, dun.
Matt, I will ask you to post the video of Dr. IP for that one.
I will.
New York trademark law attorney Emily Puller said, that's the term for when a word or phrase becomes so widely used for similar products, or in this case, sales promotions, that are no longer associated with the trademark holder. If you watch Dr. IP, you would know what that meant.
There you go.
John, I'll pick on you.
Thank you.
What do you have to say, fat boy?
It's simple. Taco Bell's absolutely right. But you're also a complete douchebag of a company for picking on someone that doesn't have your legal team. Yeah, when I think about Taco Revolution, bro, you are not on a level to be in this conversation.
Viva el taco!
Please take your little bell, go sit in the corner. We will figure this out from actual taco people, and then we will get back to you and tell you what you could do. You should not be the lead in any way. Taco shouldn't be, you should be Bell. And then you go over there, and then you can serve what you call a taco, which isn't a taco, but go over there and we'll let you know. Thanks for bringing it to thanks for letting us know, and me and Steve will work it out. You know, we'll file the proper patents, and we will take care of it. We'll let you know, little guy. You're not in the conversation. So I don't think Taco Tuesday should be allowed. Taco Bell should not be allowed to use it. But I understand why they want to free it because every cantina in the United States should probably be able to use Taco Tuesday. And every time you want to get you want to go to Taco Tuesday, every Mexican cantina bar in every city has Taco Tuesday. We can bring it back, but not Taco Bell.
Well, John's
You're
absolutely right.
You're out.
Trademarks, if you follow Dr. IP, you would know.
I do.
Trademarks have to do with distinguishing a source of goods or services. I will be honest, I have never associated Taco Tuesday with Taco John's.
There you go.
I'm with John. It's always been a restaurant or an individual who wants to serve tacos on Tuesday.
Absolutely.
Use the phrase.
Yep.
But John is incorrect about how big Taco John's is. Cheyenne-based Taco John's began as a food truck more than 50 years ago.
Wow.
Oh, good on
And
them.
now has about 370 locations.
Wow.
In 23 mainly Midwestern and Western states.
Look at that. Interesting.
But the chain's relatively small size has not discouraged big-time enforcement of Taco Tuesday as a trademark.
Yeah.
Which dates to the 80s. In 2019, the company sent a letter to a brewery just 5 blocks from its corporate headquarters, warning it to stop using Taco Tuesday to promote a taco truck parked outside on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank our worthy competitors at Taco Bell for reminding everyone that Taco Tuesday is best celebrated at Taco John's, CEO Jim Creel said in an emailed statement.
I like
That's
that guy.
fantastic. Yeah.
We love celebrating Taco Tuesday with taco lovers everywhere, and we even want to offer a special invitation to fans of Taco Bell to liberate themselves by coming by to see how flavorful and bold tacos can be at Taco John's all month long.
I want to work for the CEO. Right
Yeah,
now.
I like that guy. I like that guy. That guy is.
That was not marketing intern. That was legit CEO talk right there. That's fantastic. I love that. Yeah.
Well, Matt, are you on board with? Are you on board with him keeping Taco Tuesday as a trademark? A, and B, yes.
Well, I mean, I guess it's more of a question I would have for you, Steve, in that regard. Taco Tuesday, to me, that's an obvious marketing gimmick, no question about it. And anybody can really utilize it, I think, with any organization, so long as it's not trademarked, or does it have to be trademarked? That's, I guess, my question.
Okay, so what happens here is Taco John's has a federally registered trademark for Taco Tuesday.
Okay.
Which means they can prevent other people from using Taco Tuesday to promote their own
Taco Tuesday. Yep.
Which therein lies the problem. This sounds awfully generic, or at the very least descriptive.
That was
of
my
the
next.
service.
Yes. My next question was, that sounds very generic, and anybody can use it. And what are they going to? What is this?
What are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do about it? Right? And what are they actually going to do about it? Because it's not like they can just go ahead and start filing lawsuits all over the place for people.
Well, they have a registered trademark. They could.
Oh, they could.
Apparently, they have a history of it. Taco Bell is seeking to cancel that registration.
There you go.
Which would free it up for everybody. Viva la taco.
Except for Taco Bell.
Taco Bell could be it. Taco Bell's using it so they could do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
They would be free to use. They can't trademark it themselves. They could use the term.
Yeah.
Just real quick, so we can understand Taco Bell's massive reach. They have 7,072 stores as of yesterday.
Oh.
and
each and every one of them should be shut down.
That would be huge for them if they get the Taco Tuesday.
No question.
Think about it, that's a marketing campaign that goes out to over 7,000 stores. That would
massive.
They'd have
if that were to go through, is that a monopoly? Could that possibly become a monopolistic?
No, because they can't. They could, if they canceled Taco John's registration, they couldn't get their own registration for Taco Tuesday. Because they've already argued against it.
Yeah.
And so anybody could use it.
Wow.
It just wouldn't be trademarked, right? It just
correct.
Taco Tuesday would not be able to be trademarked because of the litigation that says why it isn't allowed to be trademarked.
That's correct. Exactly. So everybody would be free to use it. But you're right. Taco Bell as a heavyweight.
They're going to make some money off of it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's just print the money.
They beat that dog to death, so they're going to beat Taco Tuesday to death. I mean,
that poor Chihuahua.
Why does a Chihuahua have to do with tacos for 11 years? But it did it.
Hey, as long as it's a cute dog, that's all that matters, Johnny, in the market.
That's why I need to just shut up and sit in the corner, and we'll figure this out.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, they get Taco Tuesday, and then it's Wipe Your Ass Wednesday. So.
Yeah. Or Tuesday night. Why instead of stargazing, you're wiping your ass on Tuesday night.
How about this last few sentences of the AP article here? The Patent and Trademark Office approved the Taco John's Taco Tuesday trademark in '89, even with its many letters, Creel said, the CEO. The company has never had to go to court over the phrase. He's not feeling too picked on either by the much bigger Taco Bell. Creel said, quote, "It's okay. It's kind of nice that they've noticed," end quote. I love that. I want to work for that guy. Seriously. I want to be like,
I like the tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
When you see that he's actually got 300 and plus stores in 23 states, he's not really the underdog anymore.
No.
If ever I'm in that area, I'm going to look for a Taco John's because now I know who he is. Like it's
and you should get one from Taco John's, John. Seriously.
I like what he did. He didn't
Yeah.
he didn't just come out and be dismissive of it or bowing to the corporate. What he did is he used it to his marketing advantage. I guy's a genius.
Brilliant.
Like, I hope that makes him have 600 or 900 stores. Maybe he can compete with Taco Bell.
There you go.
Wouldn't
John,
it be
you
great
got
if
to
he
sort them
bought
out
Taco
wherever
Bell?
you go. Wouldn't it be amazing though? You got to get one of those things. You get one if you find a Taco John's. Seriously, and you eat it on our podcast, that'd be hilarious. That'd be great.
I eat tacos and quesadillas like people eat cheesesteaks back in Philly. That's why I moved. That's why I moved south, because I like tacos. It was food related more than work related. I like taco. I had a brisket taco for lunch, late lunch yesterday. I had a brisket taco, and my fat ass ate the whole thing. It was awesome. It was amazing.
You moving to Texas? Yeah. Oh, is it work related? No, tacos.
Pretty much tacos. I ate tacos a lot. Not white people taco night, like actual tacos.
Love it. Oh my gosh.
Alrighty, well, that concludes, gentlemen, episode 138 of Two Noobs Talking. Matt or Taco John, do you have anything final to say to our audience before we shut it down for the week and head to episode 139?
Hey, go Phillies, since now they're the only team playing in the city of Philadelphia right now. So go Phillies. Let's get above 500. Let's start winning some more. Come on. We got to get going here.
Get me some starting pitching before I care.
Oh, there you go. All right.
I'll just conclude with go Panthers.
Yes.
Panthers.
Nothing as of this recording. Hopefully by the time this comes out, it'll be a 3-spot.
There you go.
So until further ado, or until next time, whatever the phrase is, we'll see you then.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to us here at Two Noobs Talking. If you want more of Two Noobs on social media, we're here for you. You can find us by searching Two Noobs Talking on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Clapper. Have a great week, and we look forward to delivering another great episode to you next week. Take care.